mistake. You fight every word until you run. I don't think I'll have a word to say. You make me dizzy, dizzy.
Yeah, that was one of the great ones. Deshaun versus Lamar. I misread what you wrote. I thought you were talking about 16. 2016 is what I was thinking about. My fault. Yeah, that was a good one too, though. Yes, howdy, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Did anyone get a chance to see the ACC show last night on Sea-Dog's channel? I didn't, unfortunately. Did anything interesting happen on there? Usually something interesting on the ACC show happens every week. That's why it's so popular. But, of course, I didn't get to see it. But I did see that he was live. It's going good, Harold. Man, I can't. I don't think. Well, actually, I know. In my entire life, the weather has never been this beautiful going into almost June. Well, I mean, it's almost June. It was 66 degrees outside this morning. It's been that way all spring. Hell, it was hotter when we had the Slob Olympics at the Isle of Palms. It was hotter in the first week of March. That's the hottest it's been all year here. It's been absolutely amazing. Now, it's just a matter of days or weeks, probably days, before we get pounded with the 100-degree heat with a 90% humidity, you know what I mean? But I'm enjoying it right now. This is the kind of weather where, like, for people that work outdoors. I worked outdoors for over 20 years. Never had a job in, well, I take that back. I had one job for about 4 days inside. And that was when I was like 16 years old. I've never had an inside job before. I loved working outdoors. Now, the summers are brutal. Winter's not so bad. Summer's brutal. But if you work outside, like I know Colby works outside. He's a line, he works on the power lines and that. So he's probably loving this right now. Yeah, when Somerville becomes Swelterville. That's right. 45 in Maggie Valley this morning, 60 now. Wow. Yeah, it's just been unseasonably cool. And I'm not complaining, again. It's just been unseasonably cool for the month of May. It's supposed to get down, I think, in the high 40s tonight here, which is I'd have to look up the weather almanac, or how they have the record lows and record highs for that time of year and this and that. I'd have to look it up, but I got to say, at the end of May, 49 degrees as a low has got to be a record. It's got to be. Got to be, bro. 74 in Columbus. See, that's beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's get to the show. Enough of the rave music here. What's this one called? I always like to know what these things are called. Mega Hits of 2022, the best vocal deep house music mix of 2022. So this is an old video. I thought it was just live. I guess it's not. Oh, but it's an 11-hour and 20-minute long video of nothing but this kind of music. For anybody who's got, well, never mind. I'm not going to even go there. I'm not going to even go there. Excuse me. One sec. All right, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to episode number 115. Seems like just yesterday we had the 100th episode of the Midday Show. Welcome to episode number 115. I'm your host, PigskinPeete. Thank you for being here. I was asking about the ACC show last night because I didn't get to see it. Of course, I made a community post about it for anybody who's confused about that. But did anything happen on there that I need to go back and rewatch? I let C-Dog know I was not going to be able to make it, and to go ahead, if he was up to it, to go ahead and fire it up on his channel, and I would let everyone know. So I hope everyone went over there and supported the ACC show. What else was there to talk about today? Well, we're going to get to the news here in a second, but there was something I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember what it is. I should have wrote it down. Oh, I know what it was. Has anybody in here seen that show, The Yellow Jackets? I'm sure you've heard of it if you haven't seen it. We just started watching it last night. We went to a funeral yesterday afternoon, then we went out to eat afterwards with some people. And then we came home and started watching that show. Has anybody seen that? First of all, it's crazy. I think it's on, I don't even know, it's on Showtime, but you can watch it on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime Video, you can go in there and watch it. Because we don't have Showtime or whatever the Showtime streaming service is. But somebody told me, who was it that told me about it? Oh, Raj told me about it. When we met up for breakfast when we went to Golden Blue Dude's funeral at the beginning of April. And he was telling me about it when we were sitting at breakfast. Anyway, if you haven't seen this show, I don't even know how to describe it. But it's wild. It is wild. Kills the global warming doomsday argument? Yeah, well. Let's see who is in the chat here, and then we won't waste any time. We'll get right to the news. I think there's some sports news to talk about. We are in kind of what I call, or we all call, the dead period in college football, which as soon as the NFL draft ends, which, of course, that was almost exactly a month ago. It's been about 4 weeks since the NFL draft. There's a period of a couple of months where there's just nothing going on other than a couple of guys find landing spots that enter the transfer portal. Because that's it. This is the time of year we always dread, well, no matter who you're a fan of, because typically any type of news that comes out is bad news. Sometimes there's good news. I'm not saying there's never good news. But most of the time it's bad news. It's somebody getting in trouble, somebody getting suspended, God forbid somebody getting in trouble with the law, arrested and that. Even worse, people getting into serious life situations, not even football situations, where they end up in the hospital or worse. So for the next 8 weeks, the best thing that you can hope for as a fan of a team is to not see your team's name in the headlines. That's it. That's it. So, but there's a lot going on in the world of sports other than just college football right now. Things that I don't really care about, but whatever. Baylor Man says 90, 3 days left. From is a great show as well. I don't even know, where do I find that? I don't even know how many episodes into Yellow Jackets. I think, you know how you do when you first start watching a show, you binge watch it. I was watching it till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I might have watched, 4 or 5 episodes? Something like that. It's just now starting to get crazy. I guess there's 2 seasons of it, too. Matt Dummett's here. Brandon Pratt. What's up, Harold? Jeremy Garrettson. Good morning to you, too, sir. Colby Hoghead. Seminole Seth. Go Knowles in that. The fact that Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson never won a Heisman is just the chances that, I'm not going to say it's unfair, because the guys that won it ahead of now look, the Lamar Jackson year, the year that he won the Heisman, Deshaun Watson was runner up. There's nobody. Was Deshaun maybe a better quarterback overall? Yeah. But that's not what the award is. It's the most outstanding player in college football. And let me tell you something. That year that Lamar Jackson won the Heisman with Louisville, if Lamar Jackson wasn't the quarterback of that team, they're probably barely bowl eligible. That's how much he meant to that team. And he just was, he just had, he was the most outstanding player in college football that year, for sure. Heisman's a popularity contest anyway. So, what's up, Pete Magaha, Benji, Mike 3883, True Seminole, Slim Shady Canes, Baylor Man. I'll check that out. You said it's called From. Here, let me write that down because I'll forget. Let me write that down. From Prime Video. Got it. Gracias. VicTube is here. Not for Billy Paul. Speaking of VicTube, I just saw a VicTube video talking about BBD. Great news. Great news. All right, let's get to the news here. Shall we? We shall.
Breaking news from the PigskinPeete YouTube channel.
Hey, Brett, I was just thinking about you, buddy. I apologize, man. Yeah, I was just thinking about you. No, because Brett calls me this weekend, and he's like, he calls me on Saturday, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Watching the kids." So I told everybody I was at a funeral yesterday. That's why I couldn't do the ACC show. We didn't get home in time. Anyway, so Brett calls me, and I'm like, "Oh, Mrs. Pete's over at our friend's house. You know, the family of the friend that we had who died. She went over their house, and I was stuck with the kids." Not stuck with the kids. I was watching the kids. So Brett calls me. He's like, "Hey man, I'm in Somerville." And I was like, "Well, shit. Now I got the kids. I can't leave." So he's like, "Okay, well, maybe we can meet up for coffee in the morning or something." Anyway, make a long story short, Mrs. Peete ended up staying overnight at that friend's house. The family of the friend who died. And so in the morning, I still had the kids. I couldn't leave. Now, Brett texted me. He's like, "Hey, we're about to head out. If you want to meet for coffee, then let me know." Well, I didn't even see that text. I should have texted and let him know that she still wasn't home at the first thing in the morning. I didn't even think about it. But I didn't even see his text until about an hour and a half or 2 hours after he sent it. So at that time it was just too late. So I just didn't even respond to it. But I didn't want you to think I was ghosting you, bro. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see Brett. Actually, it was just weird timing with the funeral and the whole thing. So, school shooter asks for mercy from life sentence. Jesus. The teacher, the principal, and everybody wants him to stay in prison. Yeah. I think prison is probably a good place for this loser here. Imagine that. A school shooter serving a life sentence without parole for killing a first grader on a South Carolina playground when he was 14 years old is asking a judge to lessen his sentence so he can eventually get out of prison. Yeah, I know. You guys know how I feel about prison in general, the prison system here. I'm not a big fan of it. No, but that doesn't mean that people don't belong in there. Certain people do. You know, like the ones that kill children. Those kinds. Jesse Osborne's lawyer asked Judge Lawton McIntosh on Monday to reconsider his sentence so Osborne, who's now 21 years old, can have some hope of freedom in his 50s or 60s. Yeah. Give Jesse some hope to live with, they say. Principal Denise Fredericks recognized Osborne as he paced outside Townville Elementary School with a backpack full of ammunition for 12 minutes after his gun jammed before the police arrived to arrest him. Yeah, all right. Listen to this. A teen girl who had her phone confiscated set her school dormitory on fire, police say, and 19 children died. God almighty. Where is this at? Oh, this was in Guyana. I thought this was in the States. I was like, how in the hell did we not hear about this? A dormitory blaze that killed 19 children in Guyana was set by a teenage student who was upset that her cell phone had been taken away. A fire broke out in the Mahdia Secondary School in the South American country late on Sunday. A statement from the Guyana Fire and Rescue Service said that the blaze was maliciously set, which means we know what that means. National Security Advisor Gerald Guiva told the Associated Press that the suspect in the incident, a pupil at the school, was accused of setting the dorm on fire after being disciplined for having a liaison with an older man. A female student is suspected of having set the devastating fire because her cellular phone was taken away by the dorm mother and a teacher. You damn kids these days, man. You take their phone away, they start setting shit on fire. I wonder what kind of punishment that kid's going to get there. We were just talking about this school shooter in America. Got a life sentence for killing a, what was it again? A first grader or whatever? Some of these countries don't fuck around. Especially South America is one of them. You know, with continent, but some of the countries in South America, they don't fuck around. You don't get second chances over there. You know what I mean? 0% chances. Uh-oh. NASA found the Japanese moon lander that crashed into the moon. iSpace's attempt to become the first private company to safely land a robot on the moon left a mark. A NASA space telescope orbiting Earth's nearest neighbor in the space spotted the impact of the vehicle on the lunar surface. Where's all my flat earthers at? The Japanese firm hoped its Akudo R mission would demonstrate the ability to safely reach the moon so it could ride a wave of NASA and private spending on lunar cargo deliveries. It's not an easy task. Two of the three previous attempts failed. And sadly, the Hokuto lander ran out of fuel, causing it to speed up and crash, a testimony to the fine margins of safety in spaceflight. So they just barely misjudged the fuel thing there, and so instead of being able to slow down and land, it actually sped up and just, well, crashed. So here's a picture of where they say that thing crashed. Inside that little red box there. Let's see here. What's the next picture? Here's that same crater a little closer up. What is this? No. Now here's an even closer picture than the close-up picture here. So this little blue X here, it marks the spot. X marks the spot. I don't see anything. I'm not gonna lie. What are we supposed to be looking at there? It just looks like the moon. Uh-oh, a super duper duper. They just keep getting more and more magnified. Now here we are, the super duper 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 magnification. And still, I don't see shit. Man, we ain't found shit. Well, that was about 3 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Climate activists smear themselves with mud to evoke flooding in Italy. That'll work. You know what else they should do? They should probably get out you know how the indigenous people, American Indians and that, used to do the rain dances? Yeah, you get your little stick that's got some beads inside of it and you shake it. And it's almost like it's like a baby rattle for grown people. That's what it sounds like. It goes so you get one of those. I don't know, you put a feather in your hair or something. And then you dance around a fire and shake that thing, and it's supposed to make it rain. I'm not sure if getting naked and covering yourself with mud will help, though. Of course, well, I guess we'll find out. I am a big fan of naked protesting, though. I think naked protesting is slightly more impactful than clothed protesting. Slightly. This happened in Rome. A pair of bare-chested protesters smeared themselves with mud outside the Senate building in Rome on Tuesday to protest fossil fuel use and remind people of the dangers of flooding linked to climate change. I'm glad that somebody decided to take their shirt off and smear mud on themselves to remind me about fossil fuels. Otherwise, I would have just forgot. People are doing the Lord's work out there. Police quickly removed two. Since last year, an activist group called Last Generation has staged numerous attention-grabbing events in Italy, including pouring black liquid into the Trevi fountain in Rome and gluing themselves to the glass, protecting the Botticelli masterpiece to highlight the harm that fossil fuels have caused to the environment and its role in global warming. To this, I think at this point, protesting has become completely innocuous. Like, what does pouring a black liquid into a fountain, like, how does that change anything? It doesn't bring awareness to anything except for how fucking stupid you are. That's what it brings awareness to. You ever see these ones when these people like go on the interstate and just sit down on the interstate and they, like in a line, and they block traffic, and some guy just gets out of his car and starts beating the shit out of them. It's like, just throws him out of the way like a rag doll and drives off. Those are always funny. You know, when there was like civil rights protests and stuff in the 60s, those actually had an impact. You know, they worked. But they weren't throwing black dye into a fountain or gluing themselves to a window like a fucking, well, a window. Hey, that's an actual window licker. If you glue your face to a window, you're an actual window licker. That must be where the term came from. Impactful to your arrest record. Yeah, I'm going to click on that in a minute, but I want to hear about this first. Texas Appeals Court upholds a $100 million judgment against Werner. So this is a little trucking industry stuff. We got some notable truckers on the channel here. Slim Shady Canes, several others. So Werner is a trucking company, right? Truckload carrier Werner Enterprises has lost the key round in the appeal of a jury decision that saddled it with now more than $100 million judgment as a result of a 2014 accident that resulted in the death of a child and serious injuries to family members. $100 million. Of course, Werner plans to appeal. In a prepared statement, Executive Vice President and Chief Legal Officer Nathan Weisinger, Werner is disappointed with the Court of Appeals decision, and we plan to seek relief with the Texas Supreme Court. In a split decision by Texas 14th Court of Appeals issued last week, the judges backed the decision handed down by Harris County in mid-May of 2018. The judgment was then valued at $92 million and has since grown to over $100 million. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. That seems like that's a lot of money. All right, here we go. Magnificent beast caught on Texas lake sets a new record. So it's a giant fish. I'll go ahead and tell you that. I like how they call it a beast in that, but it's really just a fish. And you can see it next to this guy. Now look, is that an alligator gar, bro? That's what it looks like. So I don't know how tall this dude is, but let's say he's 5'10", 6 foot, whatever it is. This thing noticeably probably a good foot, maybe more, maybe 2 feet longer than him. He broke Jake Fromm's fishing record right there. He broke the record. Sorry, Fromm. An angler hooked a magnificent beast while fishing in Southeast Texas, setting a new record with his catch, according to wildlife officials. The 207-pound alligator gar, I called it, pulled out from Lake Corpus Christi, roughly 40 miles northwest of downtown Corpus Christi, blah, blah, blah. How long was it, though? It doesn't say. It just says how much it weighs. It's difficult to say for certain, but an alligator gar measuring 7 feet long should be roughly 40 years old, according to... Damn, I didn't know they lived that long. They're known to grow larger than 8 feet, reaching north of 300 pounds. The largest known alligator gar caught in 2011 in Mississippi was 327 pounds and was estimated to be at least 95 years old. Wow. It's an old-ass fish right there. They live into the hundreds, Pete. Okay. Well, I was today years old when I learned that. I mean, I know some fish can get old, obviously. All right, they're going to get me on this. This is definitely probably clickbait, but I got to see. I think there's a video associated with this. I have a feeling I'm going to get let down, though. But, it's not a video, it's just a picture. Son of a bitch. No video? They got me. They got me. Yeah, there's no video there. Hell I'm not even sure if it's possible for this website to get worse, but it's getting worse, I think. It's getting worse. It's already pretty bad. Some worshipers are switching congregations amid United Methodist split over LGBTQ issues. The Reverend Bill Farmer reached the point where he couldn't stay in the United Methodist Church anymore, but the congregation he attended was staying. Good. Later, buddy. Does anybody give a shit that Reverend Bill Farmer wants to leave the church? He's like these people that have to announce that they're leaving Twitter because they're mad at Elon Musk. It's like, okay, bye. Nobody gives a fuck, dude. Let me guess. He's mad that they're accepting of gay people. I bet you he's sucked a couple of dicks in his life. This fucking hypocrite here. Thousands of United Methodist Church congregations have been voting on whether to quit on one of the nation's largest denominations in the interactable debates over theology. There are sharp differences over recognizing same-sex marriages and ordaining LGBTQ clergy. I just don't even care about that story. So. The world's biggest warship visits Oslo, angering Russia. Is this an American ship? Yes, it is. The world's biggest warship, the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier, arrived in Oslo on Wednesday for a stopover criticized by neighboring Russia as an illogical and harmful show of force. The 1,106-foot nuclear-powered ship with a displacement of more than 100,000 times sailed into Oslo Ford under escort, where it would stay for several days before heading to the Arctic, according to the Norwegian media, where military exercises will take place. Is there a reason to have to go to the Arctic to do that? Because you know where the Russia is, right? It's basically in the Arctic. I mean, of all of the ocean space on the planet, you have to go to Russia to do this shit? I swear, my man, they want to go to war so bad they can't taste. I mean, they can taste it. They can't stand it. It's funny, you know, whenever another country comes anywhere close to the United States and does this kind of thing, we go, oh, this is a hostile act. Look what they're trying to provoke us. But then when we do it, we go, oh, no, that's not what we're doing at all. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. We're America. The USS Gerald R. Ford, which does look like a badass ship, by the way. Well, I guess it is if it's the biggest ship in the world, warship in the world, can transport up to 90 aircraft and helicopters. That's cool. So, there you go. Speaking of ships, look at this. Chinese hypersonic missiles can destroy newest United States aircraft carrier. Yeah, China spent the last, 50 years spending all of their money on developing weapons technologies and expanding their military. Meanwhile, the past 50 years, the United States has spent all their money fighting pointless wars. So now we're at the point where China's done passed us by. Computer simulations run by a research team on a war game software platform used by China's military showed Chinese forces sinking the USS Gerald R. Ford, the one we were just talking about, with a volley of 24 hypersonic anti-ship missiles. It said that the result... So this is like one of those... You know how when people do those in the college football video makers? Usually around this time of year, they start doing the simulated games, Clemson versus whoever, or, Ohio State versus Georgia, or whatever, the simulation games. So this is basically the same thing, but war. So in the fake war game thing, China won. Well, at least they won this battle, taking down the USS Gerald R. Ford. You sunk my battleship. The scenario was based on an attack on U.S. vessels that proceeded towards an island claimed by China in the disputed South China Sea. Researchers said that some of the missiles in the three-way wave attack were fired from as far away as the Gobi Desert, which I don't know where that is. Somewhere in China, I guess. The report that could not be independently verified, blah, blah, blah. Anyone who discusses publicly the outcome of a war game or simulation has a political objective, especially if they frame the result as a win or a loss. Right. A millionaire's elaborate jail escape plan foiled. This man tried to pull an El Chapo, bro. Remember when El Chapo had that tunnel dug into his cell from underneath the ground, and he just hopped in that shit and walked out, son? Of course, he had help. El Chapo, bro. What did this guy try to do? Fort Lauderdale, it's a Florida man right here. A rich Florida man, but nonetheless, still Florida man. Speaking of Florida man, holy shit, I got to see if I can find... y'all got to remind me before I end the news. Have y'all seen the video that's going around on Twitter and Facebook and shit? This guy in Florida goes out behind this bar to piss, and it's like right on the edge of the water. This alligator just snatches him, bites his arm right off. Just bites his arm right off. Like his entire arm. Shit is wild. Authorities say they foiled an elderly businessman's plan to escape a Florida jail and return to France, where he had previously fled in an attempt to avoid child pornography charges. So he's one of those weirdos. A tip from outside the jail sparked a 2-month investigation of John Manchek, age 78, and the people he had enlisted in his escape plan. Indian River County Sheriff Eric Flowers said Monday during a news conference. Essentially, the plan comes down to this. These folks are that on the outside are going to wait until Manchek, and they're going to take out our corrections staff while he's out at the medical facility. So I guess while he's at the medical facility, they're going to kill the transportation guards or whatever. When he says take out, that means to me like kill, right? That's the what I'm getting out of that. The plan called for Manchek's employees to pepper spray prison guards and take him into his private plane in a nearby Fort Pierce. This sounds like a movie. so that he could fly to France. He's a multimillionaire with dual U.S. and French citizenship. He was arrested in 2014 on 49 child pornography charges. Flowers said that he left the country to avoid prosecution after posting a nearly $500,000 bond and moved to his medieval estate in southern France. France denied U.S. attempts to extradite him, and he was eventually arrested in the Dominican Republic in 2020 and returned to Florida. Well, he's a dumbass. If France was, refusing to cooperate with the United States and extradite him, and he was living on some, mansion in the French countryside, why would he then come to the Dominican Republic? That's just he'd still be free if he stayed in France. This guy's a dope. I guess being rich doesn't make you smart. It just makes you rich. You know what I mean? Some people are just dumb. They were to prepare his plane and his 140-foot yacht. A black utility van and other vehicles purchased just for the escaped attempt. Yeah. Well. Sorry about your luck, bro. Uh-oh, we got a zoo story. We got two news stories here. This will probably be the last two that I read. And then I'll see if I can find that video of that guy getting his arm bit off by the alligator. It's actually, you don't actually see the alligator bite his arm off, but you see the immediate aftermath. And this also goes to show you. There's a person filming this on their cell phone. It's the guy is just laying on the edge of the water, which is right next to the road. The water comes almost like right up to this dirt road where this bar's on. And he's in shock. He just got his arm bitten off. He's laying in the water in shock. And now, lucky that there was like some people that must have known him and ran over to his aid and put a tourniquet on him, and they saved his life. But the first person there was not those people. The first person there was somebody with their fucking cell phone, and they were just filming this guy. He's laying there bleeding out on the side, on the edge of a river or whatever. Just got his arm eaten by an alligator, and the first thing this person does is pull out their cell phone and start recording it instead of helping the guy. So. Orangutan at Kentucky Zoo asks to see a 3-month-old visitor. An orangutan at the Lousville Zoo recently asked for a close-up look at a young visitor. The viral video filmed by Kayla Jalen this week shows a curious orangutan at the zoo gesturing towards the guests to see their 3-month-old child. Oh my God. If these fucking people brought their 3-month-old baby up to that orangutan, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. In the clip, the ape taps on the glass of its enclosure and points to the human baby. All right, so at least there's glass there. See, I was going by the. It's hard to see if there's glass in this picture. Okay, I see now. I see it now. I thought they were about to just go out and let this orangutan grab the baby. Here we go.
Oh, she wants a baby?
No, she.
There's a baby.
That orangutan right now is thinking, if this glass wasn't here, I would break that baby in half. That's what he's thinking. And they're going, oh, look, he loves the baby. No, he's thinking about how he would use it as a basketball if there wasn't that glass right there. These people are nuts.
There's a baby.
That orangutan right now is thinking, man, do you know how far I could throw that baby? I bet you I could throw that thing 40 yards. Humans are so dumb. A woman in a pink dress steals a $120,000 tractor. Florida cops say. Florida woman this time. And then it got weird. It wasn't weird when the pink dress woman stole the tractor. It got weird afterwards. So this is according to the Miami Herald. A woman wearing a pink dress is accused of carrying out a series of odd thefts in a rural Florida community. Is this a retirement community? Is this where Celine lives? No, Celine doesn't live in a rural community, does he? I don't think so. One of which involved riding off on someone's 120,000 John Deere tractor, according to Polk County Sheriff's Office. While the 46-year-old wanted the tractor, or why she wanted the tractor is unclear. Well, maybe she had some work to do. She needed the tractor. I mean, either that or she realized that it was worth $120,000. So, I mean, maybe she just needed a ride. There is that, too. If there was a rural area, maybe there was no Ubers. So she figured, I'll just ride this tractor home, bro. Detectives note it was not the strangest thing taken during the spree. Uh-oh, she stole some other shit, too? Bed sheets, blue jeans, toiletries, camouflage wading boots, several packages of frozen venison, and a bottle of wine. Is she single? That sounds like wife material. She sounds like wife material. All you single guys out there need to find out who this woman is. At last count, she was facing 3 misdemeanors and a whopping 35 felonies. Those are victimless crimes. Come on. Well, except for unless you own the tractor, I guess you're the victim of that. But really, what's she going to do with it? You know, it's not going to go. You know, you can't. It's not that easy to hide a stolen tractor. It's not like a Honda Civic. You can just park it in someone's garage. You know what I mean? Investigators say that crimes occurred on May the 6th in Kathleen's area, about 30 miles northeast of Tampa. A neighbor was the first to report something suspicious after seeing a female in a pink dress was driving a tractor in the area. It's not often you see a woman stealing a John Deere tractor while wearing pink dress. A farm property manager managed to detain her when the tractor, a nice big John Deere model S120R, stalled. Well, she stalled it out. They found that the woman had a knife with a 5-inch blade, along with other people's credit cards, debit cards, social security cards, a driver's license, a dental plan card. Good God. She then became irate when deputies attempted to put her in a patrol car. Florida woman. She kicked and cursed at deputies and even made death threats to 2 of them. You mean they didn't shoot her? That's usually what they do when people do that. She's lucky. She's lucky. Charges in the case include grand theft, burglary of an unoccupied dwelling, which means she broke into somebody's shit. Unlawful possession, possession of a concealed weapon, and battery on a law enforcement officer. Yeah, she's going to jail, bro. Yeah, she's going to jail, bro. Scooter says that was his Christmas shopping list that she was stealing. Blue jeans, bed sheets. What was it? What was it again? Oh, man. Oh, a bottle of wine. Look at this. Australian police officer faces charges after shocking a 95-year-old woman with a stun gun, or what what they call it, a stun gun, a taser is what we call it. Same thing, I think. You tase a 95-year-old woman. What is wrong with these people? I mean, the only way you could justify tasing a 95-year-old woman is if she had like a firearm and she had it pointed at you and you had to, it was either you were in fear for your life. Otherwise, there's no situation where you couldn't just hold her. What's she gonna do? She's 95. An Australian police officer will face charges for shocking a 95-year-old woman with a stun gun and leaving her with critical head injuries as she approached him using a walker and carrying a steak knife. A steak knife. Boy, he's going to get made fun of. Imagine being so scared of a 95-year-old that you tase him. Well, he's never going to live that one down in the locker room. The violence against an elderly and an incapacitated woman has sparked a national debate about the police use of stun guns in such circumstances and the competence of an aged care staff. Police are allowed to use stun guns when their lives are in danger. White was ordered on Wednesday to appear in court on July 5th on charges of recklessly causing grievous bodily harm. Assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and common assault. These are very Australian type laws here. That's why it's anyway. The charges are likely to be upgraded when she is expected to die of her brain injury. So she's going to die. She's going to die. Suspected to die, they say. What a wimp. What a wimp. Kill an old lady. You should be ashamed of yourself. California man who set boba customers on fire gets no jail time. Well, that's good. Anybody want to take a trip to California? They set you on fire, but they won't even get in trouble for it. On April 28th, Brandon McGlone, age 49, was found guilty of multiple felonies arising from the incident, which occurred at the Feng Cha Tea House on Durant Avenue on the night of September 14th, 2020. That was right in the middle of the lockdown, wasn't it? Especially in California. September of 2020. Armed with a can of WD-30, and I believe what he meant to say was WD-40, not 30, and a mini torch lighter, he set the hair of two Asian UC Berkeley students on fire after attempting to burn down two other customers outside of the store. This man's running around with a can of WD-40 and a lighter just setting people on fire. Friends of customers retaliated and beat McGlone, who ended up in an ambulance with a bashed face. Yeah. Aside from flammable materials, he was also found to be carrying an axe and a knife. An axe? Man, I was about to go medieval. So good news, this guy's who's running around setting people on fire, carrying axes around, no jail time for him. So That's good. That's good. All right. Burn down people. Yeah. Yeah. Some of these writers. Okay. That's going to do it for the news. Let's get to the StreamYard. Welcome to the Midday Show.
Yes.
I don't know why, but every I won't say every, but most shows, I'm mostly the first one on the show.
I was the first one this time.
Well, I'd say mostly, most times, but okay.
That's right. You have to acknowledge me, sir. I was first.
So we have TriStar here and Nate. Of course, they're arguing on who got here first. And now we have VicTube. Vic, they can't see you on screen, but I just saw you. It looks like you got your ears lowered.
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Wait, Vic, you got gauge earrings?
What the?
No, that means I got a haircut.
Oh, you got a haircut.
Yeah, they lowered his ears.
Yeah, you didn't know that's what getting your ears lowered means?
Well, you know what you should do? You ever seen those videos where these bald guys get their heads waxed?
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
You should do that.
Can we see your haircut, Vic? Do you mind?
Head wax and looked like it hurt a lot. He was kind of, screaming.
Well, it's not. It doesn't have to feel good. You're literally ripping all of your hair out, but it's to be smooth.
Saying,
Hair.
Show us a hair.
Yeah, see? There he is. Look at that.
I like your shirt.
How often do you get your haircut?
See for the rest of it.
Vic, how often do you get your haircut?
Oh, I don't know, to see a couple of times a year, I guess.
A couple of times a year?
Damn.
Yeah. Hey, Vic.
Lumberjack.
Vic, do us all. Vic, can you do us all a favor?
Yeah.
Can you save some pussy for the rest of us?
Yeah. Yeah. I can,
Oh, man.
yeah, I can see the rest.
No. Don't say that.
I'm telling you, man, with that new haircut, you better not go. You better not go down to the Vortex in Atlanta, man. You'll have women crawling all over you.
The Vortex, what's that?
The Vortex.
It's a bar in Atlanta.
What kind of bar? Is it a special kind of bar?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, it's just a bar.
You're thinking of the
What
place
kind
in
of bar?
Fucking Richards.
Well, I'm thinking of what there's hundreds of these places that I'm talking about in Atlanta.
What kind of bar? Is it a
Yeah, what kind of bar is it? Is it just a regular bar? Is it like a country western bar? Is it a dance club bar?
It's like Halloween horror theme. They even have a comedy club.
Well,
in
fuck
there, too.
that.
Huh? Halloween club. So people go in there like dressed up in costumes and shit.
it like maybe mine?
What's going on with Vic?
What's going on?
I don't know. Somebody's got some feedback though.
Is that me? Is that
I'll refresh it. Hold on.
It was TriStar.
I thought?
Yeah, he must be back to using that headset that he used to use all the time that never worked.
May broke his old. No, his. I think he broke his new.
Probably just driving through a dead spot, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He is always driving through a dead spot. There, listen.
I'm actually not driving right now. I'm actually sitting.
Oh,
Okay, we thought that maybe you were.
But I am in Wyoming, though.
Wyoming.
but see, you sound normal now.
Yeah.
But 2 seconds ago, you didn't sound normal.
So
Anyway,
Wyoming, that no one lives there.
There are people.
live there. Yeah.
It's just, this is where you want to move to if you want to be away from people, though.
There you go.
I mean, you're true. That's true.
Like, if you just want to have, like, 5 miles without a house close to you,
That's
then
true.
you can have, like, this is the type of place where people's got underground bunkers with MREs and shit. Like,
Yeah, that's apocalypse territory out there.
What's an MRE?
meals ready to eat. That's like military food.
It's like that freeze-dried food that the astronauts eat.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. It lasts for like 100 years or whatever.
Yeah. Like you'll go in these, like literally these people. I was passing a house on US 30, which is a 2-lane road. There's a nice house. It's set up like a ranch. He looks like he's got a fucking compound out there. I mean,
Probably does.
He's got a nice house. He's got a bunch of different buildings and shit on his property. There's nothing within 15 miles of his house. A very long driveway, and I'm like, this motherfucker's probably armed to the teeth.
Oh, I guarantee it. How much? Well, I know you probably don't know the answer to this, but I'm curious. Like, how much is it per acre out there in the middle of nowhere? You know, I bet you it's cheap.
I'd probably say not too much because there's just nothing out there. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, so you can just buy a whole big giant piece of land.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that Wyoming's not like, there's like nothing out there, but there is some people, but not a lot. But and you can actually buy land, like you said, Pete. I just don't know what price.
it probably depends.
Yeah. But one of my some of my family that lives in Colorado, which is more populated than Wyoming, but they buy. No, they don't buy land, but they have land in the mountains. Some of the mountains, I don't know where, but it's real expensive than Wyoming's land and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, so Harold says motels and food are not cheap there.
I
They're
don't know.
not.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been to Wyoming or what was that national park called?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone?
Yellowstone. Yeah, I haven't.
The big ass super volcano.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. And all people some scientists say it can blow up at any time.
Yeah, of course.
Anytime.
Yeah.
I think there's
Anytime within a day or 50,000 years. We don't.
I think there's a video about that. What I said.
There's hundreds of videos about Yellowstone erupting.
Figure out.
That's true, but
It's the most famous supervolcano in the world.
Yeah, so you're driving through Wyoming right now.
I'm not driving. I'm sitting.
Sitting. Well, you know what I mean. You had to drive into Wyoming to get to where you're sitting, didn't you?
No, I floated through the air.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you transported yourself there, like a
Yes,
Star
I
Trek.
did like Goku and I instant transmissioned.
Yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I would tell y'all what's a phenomenal state where I wouldn't mind moving to is Idaho.
Ooh.
Huh.
What is it? Tater State?
Yeah,
Actually, funny enough, that's what I picked up.
What?
And guess where I'm going?
Idaho.
Clemson.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
You're going
Yeah, Holland.
You're hauling potatoes to Clemson?
Yeah, hauling taters.
Yeah.
And I think one of the stops was in Columbia, and one of them was in Mount Pleasant to pick up 2 specific taters.
Jesus.
Pacific taters. What does that mean?
I mean Columbia, and then Well, I was talking about you and Rob.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, Clemson and Idaho makes sense. Well, not saying. I mean, what I meant is they both are related to taters. So
Yeah, and I deliver it right there in front of the rock, and I just throw these taters down the hill.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Idaho only have one college football team now. That's Boise State. That's about it.
So, yeah, that's what I was wondering. The University of Idaho, did they get rid of their football team?
No, they moved down to Division II, I think, or SES.
It's the Idaho Vandals. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fucking Kibby Dome.
Oh yeah.
That is also and Idaho State. Yeah, the Idaho State.
Idaho State, I think they're FCS.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Idaho. I think they didn't delete their football team, but
Yeah, the Sun Belt.
They went independent a while back.
Yeah.
Sun Belt, but then they went back down to FCS. Yeah.
Yep. Correct.
Now this is making me think. Speaking of Boise State and all those people, do you think us going to the playoff and going away from the BCS was actually a good thing, looking back? Because I think it's actually been more of a detrimental.
I'm kind of in the middle.
No, I disagree. The playoffs is the best thing that's ever happened to this sport.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know. I don't know. That's all.
Well, my view on it is that most years it got it right, but the only reason that the playoff thing ever became an argument was because back, if you remember back in 2009, 2010, that's when you had like Boise State and TCU going undefeated every year. And then in 2011, you had that year where it was LSU, Alabama in the championship game, and Oklahoma State got left out. And that's really where the straw that broke the camel's back. And I feel like, you know, all it's doing, you're just diluting the regular season and you're diluting the other bowl games to where they don't mean anything. So
I agree. There is a number. There's a magic number. We don't know what that magic number is, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to 12. We know that. So I agree that I think 12 was probably too much. They should have worked their way up. First of all, I like the 4 team, but whatever. If they wanted to do 6 or 8 and see how that worked for a little while, and then go to higher, or see how it affects college football before you start just jump from 4 to 12. But
because you got to think, you got a 12-game regular season, then conference championships.
Yeah.
That's 13 games. You could potentially have a team playing 17 games. That's an NFL regular season.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And I would argue that now you have less teams that are nationally relevant than you had, say, 20, 30 years ago.
I don't know about that.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, you didn't just have 2 conferences that were just dominating. You had multiple.
A team could potentially play 18 games. Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah, that's too much.
I guess, still, play in your conference championship and be in the playoffs, but not get a bye. So, and then end up making the national championship.
So, but to answer your question, I think that whether it's a 4 or 12 team playoff system is infinitely better than the BCS was, in my opinion. Now,
I agree.
Can the playoff be ruined at some point? Yes, it can. So we'll just have to sit back and see if that happens. There's positives and negatives to
I'm just
expansion
saying you have
of the playoffs.
way less teams complaining back then. The first instance was 2001, where you had Oregon, who should have been playing Miami in the championship game, but they put in Nebraska, who didn't even play for the conference title. And then, of course, 2004, that was the year Auburn went undefeated, and that was a big conundrum. I would say 2007, but that was just such a weird year because everybody was losing.
Yeah, everybody.
And of course, that, like I said, that period from like 2009 to like 2012, where you had Boise State and TCU going undefeated every year, and they were like, put us in there.
But they got snubbed because of their schedule.
And the fact that they weren't in a
don't play nobody. No.
Because they weren't in a Power 5 conference.
Yeah, who has Boise State played? Yeah.
And those were some damn good teams, you know, when they had Kellen Moore and all those guys.
Yeah.
But now, of course, you still have people complaining about which team should have been.
Exactly. That's my whole thing is that you've always had teams complaining.
2016 when Penn State should have been in the playoffs, but they put in Ohio.
Yeah.
Penn
State. What was it? 16 or 17 or whatever? It was supposed like the Big 12 or whoever was bitching because they put Ohio State in.
Yeah.
Well, having a playoff system of any kind is better than, in my opinion, the BCS days, because it was 100% subjective.
Yeah.
They sat down and just said, you know what, we think we'd like to see such and such play such and such, and that's who played, and that was such a crock of you know what, because I mean, there were teams that you could sit down and objectively say on paper, I'm pretty sure this team is better than the team they put in. And it just, I don't know. Having a 14 playoff system is way better. 12 is going to be pretty exciting. So
yeah, I mean, there's not a single sport on the planet that doesn't have some sort of playoff system. So I don't know why with 130 teams involved at minimum, that's the 10 power conferences or the 10 conferences. That there's only 2 teams that are possibly good enough to win a national championship. I don't buy into that.
Yeah, I don't either. I never. There's been plenty of times where we have seen in the same season 2 teams play each other and then the second team end up losing, and that's
true.
That proves right out of the gate that just because you beat somebody one time doesn't mean you're going to beat them again.
Exactly.
Other twice, kind of thing. Yeah.
I was actually. Believe it or not, I was kind of actually worried that Michigan, this last playoffs, Michigan would have played Ohio State, like you said, Brett.
And then played.
You can't beat them the second time.
Plus, it's hard to beat it twice.
Exactly.
Well, that was the argument with the people who don't like the elimination of divisions in some of these conferences, right? Because like I think Sea-Dog might be one of them. I think we've had this conversation on the ACC show before. He's like, oh yeah, I don't want to see a rematch between Clemson and Florida State. They play in the regular season. They're going to play in the championship game too. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I kind of see that. There's only so many games in a year. You don't want to see a repeat of the same game. But in my mind, it makes the second game more compelling than the first one.
Well, you can go back and you can look. Absolutely. If you go back and you look at Georgia's first national championship that we got since 1980, where we played Alabama in the SEC championship and got humiliated, and then you look at how exciting that game was up until the last few minutes of that game in the national championship game. You were sitting on the edge of your seat every
absolutely.
Play. Georgia fan, Florida fan, anybody else.
And the same, and that's a regular season, postseason scenario there. But even two in the regular season, we've already seen this happen with the Big 12 because they didn't have enough teams to have divisions, right? So they had to have, they play everybody in their conference. So that means that they're, by default, every year they play. It's a rematch because they all play each other.
Right.
You heard that they're changing the name of that conference, right?
What to what?
The Big Both.
The what?
The
Big Both. Yeah, both.
Oh.
Okay.
You're gonna have 2 teams worth of damn, and that's it.
The Big Both.
The loser of the first game does not always win the second game. Remember last year when Utah beat Southern Cal twice. So.
Yeah. Oh, was it Utah? Was it Utah and Oregon that's done it a couple of times as well?
Yeah, Utah did that to Oregon too. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean,
Yeah. So my point is, it's not like we haven't already seen it in action in real time, and it has. And guess what? It didn't ruin anything. It didn't ruin the regular season. It didn't ruin the championship game. So I don't know what people are so scared about, but whatever. You know what it is. There's just some people. You'll never make them happy. Nope. No. If they.
Hey, I am happy.
You are happy.
Well, you've got people in the Big Ten that's complaining that the SEC has 3 non-con games, and then you've got people in the SEC that's saying, well, those teams' schedule isn't as tough as ours because we play tougher teams. And so, I mean, it doesn't matter which way you do it. Somebody's going to complain about it.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's nobody in the country that has any common sense that says, you know what, I want to schedule every top 10 team, and we're going to play every top 10 team every season. Nobody wants to do that.
Well, since the majority of your schedule you don't get to pick anyway.
Right.
So there's that. Now, like certain places like Clemson have gone out of their way to try to schedule really good out-of-conference teams because they know that, a lot of the teams they play in the regular season aren't going to be very good, right? So the national perception there. Right. And then, of course, they're going to play an FCS team from the state of South Carolina every year. That's some sort of agreement that they have. It's not a legal contract, but it's what they've always done, and so it's sort of like a tradition thing. Which I don't even get me started on that. But anyway, so they go out of their way to schedule the Georgias, the LSUs, Notre Dame's kind of Notre Dame, Auburn, Texas A&M. Those are just like the most recent ones. So.
Right. I thought Clemson has to play Notre Dame though.
Well, yeah.
Their deal that they have with the ACC.
Yeah, they're on a rotation
during the COVID year.
Right? Yeah, they're on a rotation. They shouldn't have to play Notre Dame except for once every 4 years on average, I think. But they play them more often than that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I thought you guys scheduled a home and home game with them too.
Oh, we did. We played them last year, and we're playing them again this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
We're afraid of Notre Dame.
And it's not Clemson's fault if Notre Dame has a down year. I mean, it's just you're scheduling a game with a blue chip school. As much as I dislike Notre Dame, it's still a blue chip. It just is.
Down year still beat Clemson. So
Notre Dame has beat Clemson 2 times in a row now, because they beat them the year that. DJ's freshman year, remember that was his first start ever on the road at Notre Dame whenever Trevor Lawrence had COVID or something.
Right.
And so he went in there. That was a really good game too. It went to overtime. Clemson lost that game, and then of course we saw what happened last year. So
I got a question for you. Did you see what Longhorns said about Clemson?
Oh yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
I thought that was pretty classless.
So he's on his way out, is what you mean?
Dabo took the high road on that too, because he just made some comments yesterday or 2 days ago about DJ, about how big of a fan he was and how great, Dabo, he's not going to throw a player under the bus. But anyway, so a lot of Clemson fans did get bothered by DJ's comments. It didn't really bother me at all. And here's the reason why, Brett. I understand what you're saying, but first of all, those remarks that you read would come out of an hour-long interview, a long-form interview, and they cut 2 or 3 sentences out of it and made it a headline.
They chopped it up.
They chopped it up. Now, all he did really was answer the questions honestly, and I don't think he was really trying to be disrespectful. He was being honest. And here's the main thing that I like about DJ. The whole time that he was at Clemson and all this was going on, if he was unhappy, nobody knew about it. Because he wasn't out there. I mean, he was a team player is what I'm saying. You never would have known that he was unhappy with any situation by his interviews or by his mannerisms or the way that he acted in public. So the fact that he went through whatever he went through and left and went to a different program and now he's talking about it, I'm completely fine with that.
He went the way the article read, which the article read like it was just one statement that he said in one breath. And so that changes the context for me. And I hate when articles do that.
Yeah.
I also hate whenever they put like a recipe for like, you know, a barbecue chicken sandwich and then they give you 8 days down the article you find, oh, well, heat it to whatever.
Well, and one of the things that, so he said he was asked a specific question about a specific incident, you know, when he got benched at Notre Dame. And they said, how did you feel about that? And he goes, well, frankly, I was pissed off. Well, first of all, any starting quarterback who gets benched in a big game is going to be pissed off about it. I don't care what they say.
If he's worth his salt, he will.
Yeah, he said, I was pissed off about it because Dabo said that the reason he benched him is because we needed a quote-unquote spark. And he goes, he's like, we were having a spark. Right before he benched me, we just had the best offensive drive of the game, and then I got benched. So he just thought it was the wrong time to bench him or something. I don't know. But to me, that's not being disrespectful. He's being honest.
I thought it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And he did say that he didn't feel like Brandon Streeter developed him well for the NFL. And guess what? I agree with him on that. I agree with him on that.
I think Dabo, his response was brilliant because it didn't come off as condescending and it didn't come off as coach speech. He came off as like, hey man, you know, I respect the guy, I appreciate him, and I'm a big fan of his. It was like, you know, there's nothing bad that you can say about what Dabo said about that. So that's going to help him on the recruiting trail, especially if, you know, somebody misinterprets that article like I did.
Yeah. Again, I had to mute TriStar because either he's in a wind tunnel or I don't know where he's at.
Or maybe in a rainstorm. I don't know.
He said a rainstorm.
He told me he's not driving, he's sitting. Well, if he's sitting, then you've got the world's loudest and most powerful air conditioning.
He may have his phone right next to the vent.
Yeah, God, man. Sound like a jet engine.
Yeah. Or he's probably riding a plane again. I don't know.
What's your thoughts on the upcoming softball game there, Pete?
Oh, Clemson and Oklahoma?
No, it was Baba Ganoush versus.
You're talking about our softball game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about this because we're in the middle of the softball right now, college softball.
Georgia's girls team is killing people. I mean, but nobody really wants to talk about that. But
yeah, Clemson made it to they hosted the regionals. Then they beat Auburn to advance to the super regionals, and now they're playing against the best team in the country. I think is Oklahoma, right? Yeah. They're not. And is anybody going to beat Oklahoma? I mean, they are like so much better than the next best team. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
it's not even funny.
It's going to take a team doing what Georgia did, which is just get hot at the right time.
Yeah.
Because Georgia run ruled North Carolina by the 4th inning, and then the last who was they playing last time I saw? Might have been Texas A&M. They won that game like 10-4. So their offense is clicked.
Didn't the Oklahoma softball team only lost like 3 games the entire season or something? It's crazy, crazy like that.
They're crazy good. They're crazy good this year.
They're all over Twitter trash talking Clemson. It's like, and look, I get it. That happens. But Clemson has only had a softball team for what? I think this is their 4th season, 3rd or 4th.
Wow.
So they've only had a program for a few years, and they've made it to the super regionals twice already. I mean, they came out of the gate as a brand new program in the sport, hot, and they've got a really good coach who's a great recruiter.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, Right.
You get a good coach, you pay for a good coach, you're going to get good results.
Yeah, they got a great coach, and it didn't take maybe 18 months after they had their first game as a program. They already had brand new softball facilities and all this. It's and stadium, the whole thing.
Well, I think that, and not to draw comparisons to the Georgia program, it's not what I'm trying to do. When you have a coach who comes in and he says, you know what, we want to take this thing to the next level. We need these facilities. We need this in order to recruit beyond par, and the college agrees, then that certainly helps things quite a bit, and that's what he did. He came in and he's just like, I need all this stuff, and they said, okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I give a lot of credit to Dabo Swinney for, and not only him, but the athletic department as a whole at Clemson is they've been very progressive in the past 10 years as far as keeping up with the Joneses, having the top tier facilities, having the building the new stadiums for all these other sports. And they realize how important it is, not only for football, but for the athletic department as a whole. And yet a lot, and now you see that with a lot of schools. It's not just Clemson. I'm not saying that, but you also see the opposite side of that spectrum is a lot of these schools are really, really tight with their money, and they don't want to they don't see the value in building the biggest bells and whistles softball stadium because they feel like we need to build a new science building or whatever. But they don't realize that the money for the science building is going to come from the sports. You know what I mean?
One will pay for the other.
One will pay for the other.
One will pay for the other.
Yeah. So this was a big issue at Florida State. One of the reasons Jimbo Fisher wanted the hell out of there is because he saw what was going on around the country, and especially in the ACC in their own division up in Clemson at that time. And they weren't willing to spend any money on anything. So he's like, well, I'm going to go somewhere where they are willing to spend money. And of course, we know where he ended up.
At Texas A&M, and they spent money. So.
Yeah, so they spent money and didn't get the results. That's Jimbo Fisher's fault. That's not Texas A&M's fault. Yeah.
Well, that was somebody giving you a brand new race car, not knowing how to drive it.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
Well, he's the 2023 version of Les Miles. That's what Jimbo Fisher is.
Yeah.
He's the guy who refuses to change, with the sport. He's still calling the same offense that he dominated the country with in 2013. Problem is, the rest of the country's moved on.
Yep, and hired out.
And to go back to the different facilities for different sports, one of the things that I have slowly recognized over the past probably 4, 5, 6 years is that you will see an athlete, like number one athlete in the country, like Justin Fields, before Trevor Lawrence took his place. He decided to come to Georgia, and his sister also decided to come to Georgia because of the facilities they had. I think it was track and field.
Yeah.
And so when you have those complementary programs where if you got a good friend or a sibling or somebody else that's into that university that wants to go to the same place, that can have some behind the scenes, pressure that you won't get if you're just, all we do is football. Okay, well, we're going to find a program that fits both.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, rising tides lifts all ships, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, to answer your question, the softball game coming up in July, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, you're coming back, right?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. So the last year, I know all the trash talking that goes on, but in all seriousness, the last year's game was very close. It came down to the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah.
So it was close last year. I expect it to be close again this year. Hopefully Team Fools can win this time. But
didn't Lawside hit the final RBI?
No, it was Raj's cousin or whatever that guy is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Lawtide. I think Lawtide hit the tying RBI maybe, and then Raj's cousin came in and just smacked a 2-run homer out of the park to win it. I think.
I think it was something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I had a pretty good day. I think it was. I think I hit 4 runs, 4 RBIs.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm excited to go back and play again.
Mrs. Peete, the lovely Mrs. Peete, was 4 for 4.
Wow.
And I believe she had two. She scored 2 runs, but I know she hit 4. She never struck out or got out.
Damn.
She was 4 for 4.
Every at bat.
Yeah, every at bat she got a hit.
Yeah, I did get struck out by the all-star pitcher Colby's dad.
Yeah, I was out there swinging at everything like an idiot. I'm actually going to practice a little bit because I can hit, but I just need to get used to what to swing at and what not to swing at. And that comes with practice.
Yeah, I learned the practice pages.
There's another thing that you need to be a little bit aware of if you're swinging, is that a softball swing is different than a baseball swing.
Right.
And a softball swing is a straight through with a slight angle, and you swing down and pull up. With a softball swing, you start up and go down and go back up.
Okay.
Huh.
What?
So what's the physics behind that? What's the point? Is it because of the way because of the center of mass on the softball itself? I mean, what's the scientific reason for that?
It's the angle at which the softball drops in.
Okay.
So instead of hitting a baseball which is coming at you that I won't say parallel to the ground, but a lot closer to parallel to the ground than a softball pitch, you have to kind of level. When you go down and you swing through the strike zone, your baseball swing is pretty straight. It's pretty parallel. And as you finish your swing, it lifts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in softball, you want to be swinging up when you hit the ball, not level.
See, that's good for me because my natural thing as growing up playing golf is my baseball swing is not, it's more it's kind of golfy, kind of a golfy baseball swing. So so just being on an inside plane, anybody knows what I'm talking about with golf club. You're on the inside plane. You're not coming down at 90 degrees. So that automatically makes you swing upwards. If you put a bat in my hand, I believe the natural swing for me being a golfer is to sort of swing from downward to slightly downward to up. Does that make sense?
Right. From up to.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you hit even in baseball, they call it a golf swing. They call that in baseball. And a lot of batters have the golf swing, and Babe Ruth was one of them. Ted Williams was one of them.
Yeah.
So, but if you watch a few videos like on softball swings, it's a completely different kind of swing, and the different techniques and how to hit a softball versus hitting a baseball will take that ball 20, 30, 40 yards further.
Wow.
It is a dramatic difference.
You should have this noted, Pete.
I'm glad you're helping.
You're helping the competition. Look,
or maybe I'm just messing with him, and I'm going to make him screw up his swing so bad.
Yeah, see, so this is what I was about to say is I'm purposely not going to go watch any of those videos, and not because I think he's trying to trick me, but because, look, man, 42 years old, I'm just going to do what feels comfortable to hit. You know what I mean? Like I said, if I can just actually, not be an idiot and swing at the ones that aren't there, if I make connection with the ball, I can hit the ball. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about that.
The big thing about power in baseball is power. It's power.
Right.
And in softball, believe it or not, in softball, it's more about speed.
Yeah.
And in the past 2 or 3 years, you have started to see baseball start putting what they call the exit velocity when you hit a baseball. They tell you how fast the ball is going to hit the bat. And they start announcing that stuff. That stuff's been around in softball for a long time because everybody knows softball, relatively speaking. Everybody knows in softball that is the speed at which you swing the bat. It's the snap of the wrists when you're swinging back up is what generates all the speed on a softball swing. That's why you see some guys that get up there and they just crush the ball. And you're like, how is that guy doing that? He's, I'm the same size or close to the same size as he is, but he hits it, a mile. It's technique. On softball, it's technique.
It's the same thing with golf, where you see people out there that, swing out of their shoes, and they might, if they connect with it right, they might hit it far. But then you see the guy that just goes up there as smooth as butter, swings what appears to be slow and blows it right past everybody. But it's because of the technique. Same difference.
Yep.
Technique.
Yep.
Technique.
Yep.
So you want me to tell you the easiest way to learn how to hit a softball, Pete?
What's that?
Swing at it.
No. All right. So here's the difference. So it's the plane of the ball. So baseball, the ball's coming in straight. So you want to hit through the middle of the ball. But in softball, it's coming on an arc.
On an arc,
so you want to do what's called cutting the ball. You want to cut the softball. So you want to swing down on it, and you want to create as much backspin on the softball as much as possible, because that's what causes that ball to rise.
Yeah.
So the
I
easiest way
understand.
to learn how to
So
hit a softball, to develop a softball swing.
Let me see if I could understand. By the way, I don't know how many of you can see YouTube. I'm gonna put myself on camera just to try to explain what I think he's saying. He's saying that the softball is, instead of coming in a straight line like baseball, it's coming in an arc. So by the time it reaches you, it's on its downward part of that arc, right?
Yes.
So you're hitting down on the ball, creating almost like a golf thing, right? Creating backspin, and that will launch the ball, the trajectory of the ball upwards. And I'm imagining the spin would also help create some wind resistance, so it help it go further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the best way to develop a softball swing is take a tee, just go out there and hit. Take a tee and set it on top of a 5-gallon bucket. You want the softball to sit about chest height, and practice cutting through the middle of the ball, hitting off a tee sitting on top of a 5-gallon bucket. That's the best way to develop a softball swing.
Right. So ball.
That's exactly what he's talking about. Because when you hit a baseball flat and even in middle.
Yeah.
And you power through it. And when you hit one with a baseball, it's that cut that he's talking about, that speed that you put on it that drives the ball out.
Yeah, to me, it just seems very unnatural for my body to swing down on a baseball than upward. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
If you hit down on a baseball, you're going to hit it straight into the ground.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, and also with the golf background too, it's just hitting down on some, I don't know.
Pete's not going to watch any videos anyway, so.
Well,
go on YouTube and search Ryan Harvey. Just watch Ryan Harvey.
I'm scared to watch anything. I don't want to fuck my thing. I don't know what to do. I get out there. I'd be like, hit down, hit through.
I played with him for a few years when I was playing softball, and he's got a really nice swing. So, and he does a lot of videos on YouTube, kind of showing you how to hit a softball, basically. So I would go on YouTube and search Ryan Harvey, and it'll pull up his videos. I mean, you'll be able to watch them.
Ryan Harvey or Harvey?
Harvey with a V as in Victor. Ryan Harvey.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go out there and do what I normally do.
So have they already picked the teams and whatnot? I mean, I know it's mostly the same teams from last year, but I know we had some fallout from that on.
Yeah. So obviously, what's his face? Millis Vanillis won't be playing, so that's a hole to fill. We got, who do we get? Who's on my team? We got Rec Talk,
Fishing Football, and what else?
And Slim Shady Canes.
And Slim Shady Canes. Thank you. Yeah. That's who was on Team Fool's. Team Raj got, who did they get?
Team Raj got no, I can't.
Who did Team Raj get?
I don't know. I forgot.
Damn, I forgot.
We're clueless.
Did we get is Mayhem Matthew coming back?
You got Nick DTV, which by the way I think was a great pickup for Raj. He's an actual athlete, that guy. And Twisted Rooster, that's who you got.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So did we get Mayhem Matthew back?
Oh.
I'm assuming, yeah.
I'm more worried. I'm not worried about him. I want his wife there because she is a baller, dude.
Who? Mayhem Matthew?
Yeah,
Mrs. Mayhem.
I think you're thinking of somebody else.
Maybe I am.
You're thinking of
X-Wing Sports wife.
X-wing, yeah.
Yeah. She's an actual softball player. She plays softball for real. So yeah, yeah,
Bro,
yeah. She's a baller.
even in Peete and Ford, we did like the home run thing and of the event. She hit the freaking ball or what the wiffle.
Oh yeah,
ball.
she got second or third place in the mustard bottle throw, and she got. I think she won the home run contest.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
So
If I've got her, me, her, Raj, and I don't know if this cousin's going to be back or not. And I know Lawtide's going to be there. I mean, we got that's a stacked team right there already.
The teams are good. And like I said, Nick DTV, I saw him at the Slob Olympics up and close.
He can run.
Yeah, he can run. He just looks like an athletic guy. I don't know how to explain it. So that's definitely a good pickup there for y'all.
Hey,
well, I'm gonna bring it's about an 8-foot by 8-foot pop-up tent.
What's that?
And I'm buying it on Amazon. It's a misting machine. It's just got these spray nozzles on it, and there's like crazy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and somebody said they're bringing an injury tent, right? Isn't somebody bringing it?
Yeah, a 2-a-10.
Yeah, a 2-a-10. And I believe that Traction Jackson, if he comes back, last year he had some issues with the heat. You know, he was like
a lot of people did.
I know a lot of people did, but he couldn't really move around. He's in a chair, so he just was sitting there baking like a baked potato in the sun. And anyway, so but Vic Tube is coming. So Vic Tube and Traction Jackson in the injury tent, and I guess they don't need an injury tent if you have the misting machine. They could probably sit underneath that.
Well, that thing is I'm gonna have it where I want to find out exactly where the park is, because I want to find out about getting water access.
Yeah.
Because I need to find out how I can make that work.
Because you got to get a hose to that thing.
Yeah, I got to get a hose to it. Now I have 200 feet of hose, which is fine.
Right.
But I got to make sure that I can get water turned on. If I need to bring vice grips or whatever to turn on water for us, then I will. But I want to make sure that we stay nice and cool, because we got dangerously close to a couple of people having heat stroke last year.
Yeah, it got pretty ugly there, especially towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to avoid that. The other thing that I'm trying to get lined up is I want to see if we can rent some type of small bounce house or something for the little kids to play on. Because I think if we have a bounce house out there, and we got that little mist machine going or whatever, I think that the people that do show up that want to take a break from watching the softball game, they can do that.
The bounce house.
Or what's that? It's kind of like a bounce house too, but what's that? It's kind of like a wipeout bounce house where there's like a I don't know if you know.
A bounce house is a bounce house, Nate. As long as they can jump around on the thing, that's all that matters.
Yeah, well, a lot of those bounce houses have a cover over them, so there's a little bit of shade there.
Yeah.
So but you do have to have a little bit of electricity. So
I think Nate might be talking about one of those bounce houses that also doubles as like a water slide. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I don't know how well that would fly, considering that would
Yeah.
A little bit of mist is probably not a problem, but a water hose going full bore for probably 4 hours might be a little much.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's a great idea to bring that mist machine though. How big did you say it was? The tent part of it, 5 by 10.
I think it's 8 by 8.
8 by 8. That's pretty good.
And the thing around you can buy it off Amazon. It's like $15 or $20, and it's a water hose that has multiple attachments on it, so that it creates a mist, and then you can just zip tie that to the top ring of the pop-up tent.
Yeah.
So it creates a mist. So if you need to step in there and cool off or whatever, that would be
Yeah. So we get like a big fan and the mister with the fan. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I don't have I had a giant shop fan, but I sold it. I probably need to buy another one. But
we need to find someone to bring a big fan. Then shit. Raj doesn't have one.
I'm sure Raj got like 5 of them.
Yeah, I do have
like something Raj would have, right?
Colby is right. I do have a jump castle. I have a bounce house.
Hey, no kidding. I do have a small bounce house for my kids, but it's like 4 foot by 4 foot.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know how big ours is.
Yeah.
I hate that fucking thing. I really do. I hate it.
What do you mean? What happened?
Yeah, why do you hate it?
I just don't. I don't know. Well, I don't, because I care about my yard. So I don't just set the bounce house up and leave it there for 3 weeks, right? So if I put it up for a day, that means I'm taking it down either the same day or the next day at the latest. Because I don't want to
kill his grass.
Don't want to kill my grass.
You live in an HOA, don't you?
Yeah, but even without the HOA, I enjoy my yard being nice.
No, I'm just saying that's an additional problem. Is that if you kill your grass and you live in an HOA, it ain't like they'll let you wait to reseed it and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not letting my grass die. That ain't happening. It's just a lot, and it's a pain in the ass too. It's easy to put it up, right? Because all you just spread it around and then plug a little blower onto it, and it blows right up. But tearing it down and fitting it back into that little bag that it goes into, that's a whole different story. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it's a pain in the ass, like you said.
Yeah, it's a pain. It takes 3 times as long to take it down than it does to put it up.
Like 3 hours?
Not that long, no, but still.
Oh, okay.
but folding up them bounce houses is a lot of crawling around on your hands and knees on the ground too.
Trying to get the air out of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain in the neck.
It is a pain. So.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump off before you start telling everybody you got to go ahead and jump off.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, catch you guys later.
All right, see you later.
Yeah, it's a pain in the neck and the ass, right?
That's what she said. Okay.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, Pete, I wish I were coming this year, but I'm hoping to do next year, but it's all right. I mean, we can't all make at one or on the same year and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you live on the other side of the country, so.
Right.
Which is fine, but I'm used to traveling though, but
yeah, but when you travel, Nate, it also takes other people, not just about you.
Yeah.
You know the saying, it takes a village. That's Nate. When Nate travels, it takes a village. You need everybody's help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, I agree. I'm just saying in general. I mean, in general, I'm a traveling man, and the traveling man, but
Nate the traveling man.
and that is not a denial. It's a fact. But yeah, I know you have to go in like 3 minutes or 6 minutes. I don't know. But I still had to work. I still currently work for summer, for the summer, but like my actual work, and right now I have Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, and those are my off days. So I don't even know work today. Woohoo!
That's great, Nate. That's amazing and fantastic. What are you gonna do with your day off?
I don't know. Eat cookies and
eat cookies.
Play little video games and probably take a nap. I don't know.
Man, this man's living the life. Eat cookies, play video games, and take a nap.
Sounds like
man.
Sounds like a slob.
Yeah, you're slob confirmed. But I'm not going to eat cookies and take a nap. I actually had to do some painting, so yeah. So I do have to go.
All right, see you, Pete. Thanks for having me on, and I'll call in later tonight.
All right, see you later, Nate. TriStar, you're still on mute because you sound like you're in a wind tunnel, but thanks for calling in, being part of the show. I don't know. Okay, I guess, okay. Vic?
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, man. See you later, Vic.
Yeah.
Big Tube. All right, great midday show today. A little bit of everything, like usual. I will be back tonight at 10 p.m. for the live call-in show. So make sure you tune into that. I appreciate everybody for being here. Have a great Wednesday, everybody, and I'll see you tonight.